tonight, the City Council will vote on a development agreement that would allow it to be killed. No more the wild expanses of woodland. No more the mystery of the forest. No more the moldy magic of the winding paths. No more the wildlife corridor running from the Intervale to Lake Champlain, with all manner of wildlife honoring our domesticity with their passing. No more an alluring stopping place for migrating birds who, having fewer and fewer large areas of green space to alight upon, will come less and less to our city, drastically decreasing the number of species we see and eventually the number of species that exist. No more a wild darkness to get lost in, only domestication, merely well-lit parking lots, paved over verdure, barbecue decks, manicured lawns, and other air-conditioned nightmares.
Down with domestication!
Down with air conditioning!
No more of fresh wildness running down to our precious and imperiled Lake Champlain. Only cement and the baleful detritus of construction oozing toxins. The city proposes using conservation fund money to preserve only 12 acres of the property for public use, which absurdly the developer could not build on no matter what, because it includes a public right-of-way and because it is on unbuildable land. This small area, which is allegedly being purchased for the people of Burlington, will be adjacent to the 770 new housing units and would probably mainly be used by the residents of these apartments to enjoy the sunset, walk their dogs, talk on their cell phones, smoke cigarettes. It would be denuded of its value by the proximity of this monstrosity and by the lack of vision of the stewards of this city. Structures, roofs, parking lots, and streets, including two that run down the hill directly toward the lake, will concentrate the development's stormwater runoff and move it toward the public park, which will become a muddy marsh complete with a pumping station chugging away and underground vaults and electric lines. Nothing about this allegedly wild 12 acres of park will be wild. We mourn today this lack of vision, and we mourn each individual species of tree, plant, fern, mushroom, bird, mammal, fairy that is threatened by this lack of vision. And we remind our administration of all of the land all over the country and in Burlington itself that was once preserved by other governing bodies who had the foresight to invest in the future by spending our money to save this land instead of spending it to pave the parks and cover all available green space with asphalt. We mourn the council's treachery in voting on an ordinance last year which allows up to 35% of public parkland to be paved over with cement, a sign of the kind of backward thinking that is allowing this fast-track development. We mourn the former Burlington College land in advance, which will be lost if we do not act swiftly and decisively now. This land, local residents have walked for generations in spring, summer, and fall, cross-country skied on in the winter. The land where we have shown our children the wonder of nature, the different kinds of trees, watched birds at dawn and at dusk, where we have listened to the sound of animals moving magically through the thickets of the wood and rustling in the high grasses, where we have rolled down the incline and lain in the grass, looking up at the stars and the branches of high trees. We mourn this land, which may have given those diocese orphans, many of whom were egregiously tormented in this place, some small bit of solace in their suffering. This land, our land, which could be relinquished for the profit of one man with the complicity of one temporary administration. This historic piece of land that is clearly not valued by the administration of a mayor who was elected by only 17% of registered voters, but who takes that small number as a mandate for facilitating a development project which will destroy forever a part of Burlington's history. This mayor will not be here forever. But the legacy of this destruction will live on if this development is allowed to go forward and planned. While the rest of the world begins, alas, all too late to wake up to the reality of climate change and begins to take steps toward reducing greenhouse gases and preserving green spaces, the largest city in the Green Mountain State is stuck in a 1950s fast-track development and car culture ethos. While some of our local officials claim that it's unrealistic to find funds to save this land, what is truly unrealistic is the idea that we can afford to lose it. But we say now, this land is not yet dead, and it need not die. This land can and must be saved. This bad deal must be analyzed and rewritten so that it serves the interests of the people of Burlington, not the developer. Let us go now into the city council meeting, sign up for public comment time, and tell our representatives that if they vote to approve this agreement, it will not be in our name. There are some who would be satisfied with a better deal, one which concentrates the development along North Avenue and which is mostly affordable housing, one which leaves the land closest to the lake in public trust and which avoids its poisoning by runoff from construction and lawn toxins. This would indeed be better, but not best. I myself believe that all the land should be preserved, and I beg you to tell our representatives that we charge them with preserving the land, with finding funds to purchase it for the citizens of Burlington in perpetuity, for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, so that birds of all kinds may visit them long after we are gone. Let us resolve, my friends, this evening, not to mourn the loss of the land prematurely. Let us instead demand of our representatives that they work aggressively to save the land and to honor the values and interests of the people they serve. We, the citizens who love and value this land, who care to maintain the quality of life locally and globally, and who believe that public process, not sidetracked or compromised by moneyed interests, is still a Vermont way of life. Do you believe that?
Yeah!